So thanks everyone for joining us today. My name's Nicole. I'm a researcher at CQ University, and I'm one of the project members for Race Victoria, which is all around raising aspirations in career education and agriculture. We're running our Teacher PD webinar series, and today I'm really excited for us to delve into the world of machinery dealerships and all the different kinds of careers or jobs or skills that you might need to work in these kinds of organisations in ag. So often we think about ag, we think about on-farm, but the professional services sector is actually booming in agriculture at the moment, and there's some really great jobs that you can get there too. So I'm really excited to welcome our panelists today. So we've got Andy and Ant from TTMI and Leongatha. Hey guys.
How are you?
Yeah, good. How are you guys?
Good, thank you.
Awesome. I might just kick it off by getting you, Andy, to tell me a little bit about yourself. What was your first kind of job or exposure to agriculture, and what's your current job?
Well, I grew up on family farm. Was exposed pretty young age. Currently, I'm service manager at TTMI Leongatha. I've been doing that for probably 4 years. I've been involved in ag one way or another throughout my life. Been a mechanic since I left school, so yeah.
Nice. What kind of family farm were you on?
Dairy.
Nice. So around Gippsland or?
Yeah, just locally in Thorpedale. So
Yeah, nice. Very cool. You didn't want to go dairying?
Nah, not really.
We might dig into why a little bit later, but what we'll also I'll just kick it over to you, Ant, to tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of your first exposure or your first job in agriculture and kind of where you are today.
Yep, no dramas. I was probably a bit later to get started in the ag industry compared to Andy. I was probably more closer to my about 30 years old, so my background's all in boats and boat captain, and an opportunity came up to leave North Queensland and go to Canada for a couple of years to work on a bison ranch when I was 30. So packed up all the family from North Queensland in 35-degree heat and landed in central Canada in minus 30. So it was a bit of a culture shock, but yeah, love the whole idea of agriculture over there, and just the pace of life was different. The people that you deal with was different, and the passion started to kick off. And after 2 years doing ag over there, returned to Australia and came south to Victoria, and started with TTMI as soon as I came back here and into a sales role. So
yeah,
nice. A bit different.
Did your experience on boats, did that prepare you for agriculture? Is it very different?
Pretty different, yeah. The wide open spaces, maybe, the ocean to the prairies, from being wide out in the deep blue to, out in the middle of the prairies in Canada. That was about the same. But no, apart from that, was did have a little bit of ag, I guess, as I was young. I did grow up in a rural area in New South Wales, but wasn't heavily involved in agriculture or anything like that. So, yeah, a bit of a different pathway.
Yeah. What is it that you like about agriculture?
I like the day-to-day. It's never the same 2 days in a row. There's always it's a pretty diverse kind of industry, and even within ag, you've also got a bunch of different, I guess, avenues. You've got dairy guys, you've got beef guys, you've got vegetables, you've got cropping. So I guess customers' requirements and what they use day to day is totally different from case to case. So it's pretty interesting. You never know who's going to walk in the door and what they're going to need. So it does keep you on your toes. So I like that. It's not predictable. I like every day you're not sure what you're going to walk into, good and bad, I guess.
Yeah. And what kind of products or machinery are you selling at TTMI, just for people to get a little bit more context around your organisation?
Yep. So we're Case IH is our number one franchise, which are red tractors, for anyone who knows the tractors out there. So they're our number one franchise. We've got 7 dealerships based across southern Victoria and also Tasmania. So we go Warrnambool, Colac, Trafalgar, Maffra, Leongatha here, and then we've got Latrobe and Longford in Tasmania. So that's our number one franchise, is the tractor brand. And then we've got a lot of other sub-franchises. Kuhn, which is a French farm machinery manufacturer. We've got Bednar, which are built in the Czech Republic. We got slasher ranges. So yeah, there's a lot of different other sub ones, but they're our main kind of couple. So the tractors by far, that's our number one, and then the other ones are just kind of flow on.
Yeah, awesome. Andy, so yeah, tell us about why you decided to sort of go the mechanical path as opposed to farmer path.
I've always had an interest in mechanics since I was a kid. We sort of grew up on a sort of a smallish sort of farm. Probably, I guess, ag wasn't booming in that era, so to speak. So the other way to still be involved with it was, look at doing an apprenticeship as a mechanic. One sort of, if you always want to go back to agriculture, like farming type of thing, you've got something that'll help you out for the rest of your life. So yeah, that sort of was my decision when I was younger. We still have the family farm now. Like things that I learned in my apprenticeship has helped me, throughout since. Yeah, it's always something to fall back on, and just when you think you might not remember something, or it might not be important, something pops up, and like Ant said, no 2 days is the same. So yeah, it keeps you on your toes.
That's awesome. What did you have to learn quickly to be good at your job?
Problem solve, I guess, on the go. Yeah, no, there's no sort of right and wrong way to fix something when it needs to be fixed. It's sort of, if something needs to be up and going because the farmer can't use his machine, well, yeah, sometimes you have to think outside the box just to be able to get him moving so he can get whatever he needs done. Sort of everything is really sort of time essence. So the quickest you can get it up and going, the better you are, I suppose. So
yeah, that's awesome. And Ant, what did you have to learn quickly to be good at your job there at TTMI?
Probably negotiating from a sales side of things. To be able to, every deal is going to be different from the sales side. Every customer is going to be different. Some are very easy, I guess, to negotiate with and get a deal over the line. Others really know how to make you work for it. So it's and you have to treat every deal as different as well. That's so that was probably something that, and still to this day, still learn new skills every day with negotiating. You still have a customer walk in the door who throws a bit of a spanner in the works. You think something that's going to be a nice, easy deal to get over the line and move on with turns into something that might drag on for a few weeks. But yeah, that's probably one thing. So communication's a pretty big key, I think, with probably both, with Andy's job and also ours, is it's communication, making sure we've got all the information up front. Farmers are pretty good at giving you what they think is plenty of information, but what they think might be plenty might only be able to get us started in our job. So it's trying to communicate with the farmers so that we're all on the same page, I guess.
Yeah. That can certainly be challenging.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit more. Both of you have mentioned how different each day can actually look. Maybe take me through what a typical week could look like for you then. Like what kind of tasks, what's your job look like when you're doing it?
Yep. So Monday mornings we always start the same from the sales side, which we get all the guys from across the dealerships to do it. We link up for an online meeting, just cover a bit of a plan for that week and a bit of a cover of the past week. Cover all things like targets and the KPIs that each of the sales guys got, any sales that are kind of pending or looking at going through. So that's generally Monday morning, taken up by an hour to an hour and a half of meetings. And then for my role, I'm pretty much office bound for the remainder of the week after that. All the sales guys head out onto the road. They go out doing farm visits and startups of machines. And I'm pretty much here is just on call for them if they need some information pulled offline and sent through to them, finance quotes done, any kind of numbers that need to be run. I'm always in front of the computer. I can get that bashed out to them nice and quick, and then they can be quoting the customer while they're still there on the property instead of leaving, coming back. And a lot of the time with farmers, time is of the essence, and when they've got an idea in their mind that they want to do something, you've got to act pretty quickly, because the next day something might have changed in their setup and the idea of buying a new tractor's gone out the window. So it's definitely trying to get the information to the guys as quick as we can. So yeah, that's pretty much on my week. But there's always spanners in there as well. You might get a phone call that might require you to quickly run out of the office and go see a farmer and try and help them resolve the problem. But that's my general week. Andy's is probably a little more exciting.
Yeah, Andy, tell me about what your week looks like.
Yeah, no day or week is the same, really, but pretty much the first thing Monday morning, it will be come in. We usually get here a bit early Monday, try and go over what happened over the weekend, if there's any breakdowns, that sort of thing. Get them organised if they need parts, need reattending, that sort of thing. Carry out mechanic organisation for jobs pretty much for the week and start of the next week. And then that's most of Monday between phone calls. That's most of that. And pretty much from there on in, it's phone calls, liaising with customers, liaising with staff, like mechanic staff at the back, and trying to get invoicing done as well in amongst all that throughout the week. Yeah. So, yeah, pretty hectic. Sometimes, like, I'm not always office bound as well, so sometimes I can be out in the workshop helping techs, or if need be on site helping techs as well. Nothing is the same.
Both of you are managing teams of people, and I'm curious, what makes someone a good team member to you? Because I'm just thinking of advice that teachers might be able to pass on to their students. We know it's not just about their technical skills, although that's certainly super valuable, but I guess, what are some of those employability qualities that you want to see in team members to be a good member of TTMI?
I think communication, goes massively. Just before the meeting started, Andy, one of the guys forgot to communicate something to him that we could have asked him to have his tractor back a few hours ago, and one of the boys just forgot to communicate that they'd finished working on it and their job was done. So that brings a frustration in it. So I think having people that are willing to communicate, and I think these days, the younger generation especially are very quick to jump online or be able to send a message, but I think being able to have a conversation and actually pick up the phone and give someone a phone call and relay the message or relay the information, that's pretty important in our industry, I think.
Yeah, it's about the customer, right, and how they prefer to communicate. And unfortunately, sometimes that means picking up the phone, even if that feels a bit uncomfortable for you at first.
Communication is definitely key, and probably interpretation of what necessarily comes from the customer might not directly be the fault or what the fault is. It's a bit of interpretation as well. Sort of those two things, I guess, would probably be definitely key to especially workshop, that's for sure.
So maybe asking a few more questions than you think you might need to, just to try and get a bit of clarity around it. No, that's really awesome. Andy, what's the best bit about your job?
To be honest, I love agriculture. It's a real passion to be out there. No 2 days the same, so you're not just stuck doing the same thing day in, day out. It's really good being able to get out there, help the techs, see the techs grow throughout their apprenticeship as well. That's probably the best thing, I reckon, for myself. yeah.
What's the most challenging thing for you then, or what's the bit that you don't like so much?
Most challenging thing is it's probably one of the same, to be honest. Dealing with the text sometimes can be one of the most challenging.
It's one of those things where sometimes what challenges us can be the most rewarding thing, but I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
what about you, Ant? What's the best bit about your job?
Um, I think when we think about farmers, we think of the large scale farmers that we see out and about or we see on TV, but a lot of the farmers around our area are just small family farms. And sometimes their machine purchase might be the first tractor they've ever bought. So quite often when you deliver it, the whole family's there, the kids are there. And yeah, just seeing, I guess, the excitement in the family's face that they've finally got a tool that's going to make their farming job a little bit easier to do. So it can be pretty rewarding when you see that excitement as you're pulling the drive over the truck. So that's probably the best part.
Yeah, I've interviewed a few farmers around machinery and technology, and the one thing they always tell me too is like it's one thing to get it, but it's so great when you have good tech support behind it as well, and that's a key part of it. Is that what you find with your business there too?
Massively, that's what we kind of we base the business a lot on the tech support and the aftermarket support. Probably that helps sell the new product more so than the knowledge at the start. So that's something we're pretty big on. Is that the guys are always available. We've got tech support through Harvest 24 hours of the day. So we've just got guys that are available to keep them going. I guess downtime costs farmers money pretty quickly. So especially when they're dealing with short weather windows like we are this year with Harvest, they're trying to get as much as they can done in the 2 sunny days that the week's given us. So
Yeah.
if they lose an hour, it costs them a heap. So they're just, we really kind of strive ourselves on getting guys up and going as quick as we can.
Yeah. Andy, have you been on the receiving end of any 3 a.m. phone calls then in terms of that
Yeah,
tech
there's been a few over the time.
support?
Yep.
And what's the most challenging bit about your job then too? Which is the bit you don't like so much?
It's not so much I don't like, but a challenge at the moment is that I think technology in farming is advancing really quickly at the moment. We're going through a bit of a boom with the new technology and guidance systems. So trying to keep up to speed and not get left behind, I think that goes for all of our sales team is making sure we're just keeping on top of all that new technology because last thing you want is for the customer to have more knowledge about our product than what we do. So it's growing really quick, so we just need to try and keep on top of it and keep up with the training. So it can be a bit of a challenge.
Yeah. Is it fair to say your job is one where you have to keep learning all the time?
Yep, 100%. Yeah, they're constantly releasing new products. Case IH have just released a few new tractors this past week in Europe that we'll start to see here in Australia in the next 2 years. So, and it's all brand new technology. They're talking bigger tractors, faster tractors. So it's stuff that we have to be completely over within the next 12 months because customers are going to start asking to be quoted these tractors before we even see them here. So it's constantly evolving.
So how do you stay up to date on all that sort of stuff? Do you guys go to training because you're dealing with global kind of machinery? Do you get to go overseas at all? Like, tell me a little bit more about that side of your job.
Yep, that's definitely lots of online training. Case are pretty good like that. As soon as they'll release a new product, they've got an online, they call it Web Academy, which you can go in there and do all training modules on each of the new machines. Covers tech side of stuff to features to sellability, so covers a whole range of things. Trips overseas, you do get to do factory trips. Case has got factories in America, Europe, India, South Korea, so they do offer factory trips. I haven't been lucky enough to go on one yet, but they do offer it. Yeah, so
Yeah, that's cool. I might get you to tell us a little bit more about some of the diesel apprenticeships that are on offer at TTMI. Give us a bit of an overview of what that kind of training program can look like, how people get into it. Either of you.
So the diesel apprenticeship consists of 4 years. So it is 4 years direct with us. 3 years of that is training as well. Best thing about Case is they do a specific product-based like TAFE course. for our apprenticeship. So you're not just going to TAFE to just learn on something and anything that might not be relevant to us. It's specific to case tractors and across all the case range. So yeah, that's the first 3 years, as well as like workshop based. The fourth year is just predominantly workshop based. So yeah, we try and offer a bit of a range. Try and send apprentices on site as much as we can, with qualified techs for training. Just try and give as much exposure in those first 4 years as possible to everything that we have to deal with.
It sounds like a really nice combination of like formal training and learning on the job, which is always awesome. Like when you actually get to see the real world outcome of like learning those skills and putting them to the test, I reckon. TAFE, local, or where do the apprentices go?
All our TAFE is done at Wagga. So yeah, a little bit of a trip. But the boys are up there for 2-week blocks throughout the year, predominantly from February to October. We try and keep all our techs back here for harvest. But yeah, it's a 2-week stint. All accommodation and that is all provided from TTMI. So yeah, they seem to have a good time up there. But yeah.
Yeah, it's always good getting in amongst your own cohort sometimes. Well, what ages do you look at taking apprentices at? Do they need to be old enough to have their driver's license? Like, do they need to have their driver's license, or do you take, year 10 school leavers? What do you guys look for in terms of those kind of admission requirements?
It definitely helps for somebody to be independent and have their license. It definitely helps massively. It's not an essential requirement, but like we sort of do offer a pre-apprenticeship program as well, like for more like your year 10 and year 11 students, that sort of it's just a 12-month thing. It gives us and them, I suppose, the best of both worlds. They get to come and work here, depending on the structure, a couple of days a week, instead of going to school. We get to experience them throughout the year, see if they're suitable, and they work out, that sort of thing. It's a real good program. It's not just jumping straight into a full-time apprenticeship where you're leaving school and you're working the 5 days a week. And it gives us a bit of an insight. So
I was on your website. Is that the program that's called a spare parts interpreter? I was like, that's a really interesting job. Or is that something different again altogether?
No, that's something different again. So like myself, like I look after the workshop. We have a team that look after spare parts as well. So that'd be either like customer walking over the counter or workshop requirement parts. So spare parts traineeship is like a apprenticeship to be a spare parts interpreter. That's something separate again.
Yeah, I love the job title. I was like, it just actually, but then listening to you guys talk about your jobs, it is clear that communication is so vital to everything that you do. Like it just,
it definitely is.
It's like, and it all starts with, like what I guess Andy said, with spare parts. Like the workshop will go to spare parts with just a list of requirements they need to make the repairs on that machine. And then the spare parts crew, they'll delve down into all the drawings and the technical drawings of the tractors, work out what parts are needed. And they have to be incredibly accurate, because one small part that gets missed from the order, when we're talking, a lot of stuff can come from either the warehouse in Sydney or even overseas. You think everything's going to be there ready to do the repair, and you might be missing $1-2 part that's going to hold up for another week. So it's quite an important role, the spare parts interpreters too.
Oh gosh, just hearing you talk, I'm like, you guys work on some of the most complicated puzzles I've ever do you know what I mean? It's so awesome. If there was a teacher listening to this who had a student who was really keen on like taking up one of these opportunities, whether it was the school-based kind of option or the apprenticeship post-school, how do they sort of go about getting in touch or like looking into those opportunities? Do you just have an open recruitment at different times of the year? How's it kind of work?
Yeah, pretty much. It is sort of pretty open. We do like to probably recruit at the start of the year. Or very end of the year. So that it just falls in line with all their training and that sort of thing. If rather than starting halfway through the year.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty sure it's just an email inquiry online.
Yep.
That'll get through to relevant, and that can go like, doesn't matter where you're from, whether it be Western Districts or East Gippsland, or even Tassie, like that'll come through and it'll get redirected to the required service manager or branch manager of that area.
Yeah.
We'll also have, is it year 10 when we get the work experience kids come through each of the dealerships? Yeah. So quite often the schools will reach out, or the students themselves will just walk into the dealerships inquiring about work experience. So we normally run a couple of work experience slots through the year, and quite often it's one of the kids who have come through that work experience that have really kind of got the taste for it, really enjoyed it. Then they seem to then kind of start to inquire about the school-based role where they kind of split school and work for the next year. And then depending how that goes, then they're quite often a foot in the door for the apprenticeship because they've already had a bit of a taste of the work experience and the work-based school role. So yeah, they normally kind of seem to flow into the apprenticeship role.
Yeah. When you have, people come to do work experience with you, it sounds to me like one of the things that makes them a good potential candidate for the apprenticeship is being a bit proactive and asking those extra questions. Yep. What other things do you see in young people that make you go, that'll be a good apprentice for me?
I think showing up on time, I guess, and willingness to ask questions and willingness to learn. I love hearing the younger kids ask questions about how to do something. And someone like Andy, who's got so much knowledge, even the techs who have been working for us for 5 years or more still come to Andy for advice. So I just like that they can come and actually ask the question. Don't be afraid to ask. There's no harm in it. So someone who's willing to just kind of put their hand up and ask for assistance if they need it.
Yeah. Do you agree with that, Andy? Is that kind of...
Yeah, definitely. The ability to ask questions and take on information, and like necessarily like retain that information as well. Like it's all good asking questions, but if you're asking the same questions sort of day in, day out, something's obviously not sinking in. Like those things come into play, and I suppose it probably comes into effect sort of probably under a bit of work ethic as well. Like sort of be asking them to do something, and just watching them get in there and get it done. That's definitely a big plus.
Yeah. On the retaining the information, I met a young woman on a farm once who just used to have a notebook in the back, like a little notebook in the back of her pocket that she'd just like jot a few things down because she was not really great at listening to instructions, but just kind of needed to have the reminder there for her. But I think there's all these little
notebooks. Quite often
Sorry?
We have a stash of notebooks that quite often get thrown to the guys.
Oh, do you?
There you go. Remember to use a pen and paper. Don't forget, you can make notes.
No, that's awesome. I'm just having a quick glance through my questions because I think we've powered through them pretty well. I am really curious about around the future of ag and what you guys are seeing with technology. Can you talk a little bit more about how your skill sets might be changing or what things might be changing for you in your kinds of roles?
Yep. It's a huge amount of focus now is it's AFS is what it's called, which is automated farming systems. So it's all going down the paths of tractors that can drive themselves. We still haven't kind of ventured in the operatorless tractors that they started to kind of test over in some of the North American states, but definitely ones that steer by themselves. That all works off satellite, and they pretty much point in the direction you want it to go and press a button and it'll steer itself in a dead straight line wherever you want it to go. So that's advancing very quickly. And also tractors that we call them smart tractors, that as soon as there's any kind of alarm in the cab that the operator sees, Andy, who kind of monitors the computer as well, it'll pop up on his screen that there's an issue with that tractor as well. So a lot of issues can be solved remotely these days, and not require on-farm visits. So that's just kind of getting going, and there's still a long way for it to go. But definitely in the next 10 years, I think we're going to see a lot more to do with the technology on that side of it.
That's really cool. Any final advice you'd give anyone looking to do what you guys do, or joining agriculture?
Yeah, get out there and do it.
Yeah. It's a great industry that can pretty much take you anywhere, both nationally, globally. There's ag in just about every country around the world. So you can, once you have a taste of it, I think if you love working outdoors, you love working with either people or animals, machines, there's pretty much endless opportunities out there for the guys that want to have a go at it, and girls. So definitely.
That's so awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today. And it was so great to hear more about your work and the kind of different jobs you do at TTMI. I'll put some links in the webinar YouTube around to the business website if teachers want to check out sort of the careers and the different kind of applications that they can do. And I'll let them know to keep an eye out for your dealership if they're in, around Victoria. Pop their head in and check it out. So
that'd be cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No, thanks, Nicole. Appreciate it.